Oh, what else is there?
That's it.
Hi, Magda.
Shavuot
Hi, Barbara.
Tov.
Oops. Uh-oh.
Hello, Shavuot Tov.
Oh, that's no problem.
Okay, there.
Mm,
Happy Hanukkah, everyone.
Everyone, yeah.
Happy Hanukkah.
And
Yeah.
it's hopping in Manila Mall.
Say that again.
It's hopping in Manila Mall. I was
Are
gonna
you in
send it-
Israel
Oh,
now?
Manila.
No, I'm not. I got a snippet. I send it to the chat. It's really hopping. Let me send it.
Sending something to the chat.
Like really unbelievable.
You were. Somebody said that
What?
to you?
I'm
Is that
gonna
what you're saying?
No, I one of my chats, Navi. Yeah, so they're hopping there. So if you just put it on there, it's just unbelievable.
Oh my God. Wow.
Right?
One of my kids is there.
Oh, there? It's wild, right?
I mean, I don't know if he's the Manila. I know he went to
This is Manila. It's Manila.
No, now it's 6 a.m. He went to bar mitzvah.
Oh, this is Manila.
Wow. Turn up the sound so I can hear it. Let me see it. I want to hear it. What's going on?
If only we would get the hostages, that would be unbelievable, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It's a great time to go, Hanukkah.
Shavuot Tov, everybody, and Chag Sameach.
Oh, Chag Sameach.
Oh,
Shavuot Tov, Chag Sameach.
Sameach.
Okay, we are on Sefer Melachim Beis, Perek Yud Tes, Pasuk Lamed Hey. That Chizkiyahu was told that a great miracle is going to occur. Sancheriv and the Assyrian army are encamped around Yerushalayim. Vayhi balaylahu, we'll see what night that is. Vayitze malach Hashem, a malach Hashem went out. Vayach b'machane Ashur, and destroyed the Assyrian camp. Mea shmonim v'chamisha aleph, 185,000 of their soldiers. Vayashkimu baboker, and in the morning, v'nei chulam tkarim meitim. It's all dead corpses in the morning. So the Shir HaShirim Rabbah says this was Leil Pesach. And when we say Vayhi b'chat, when we say one of the Mizmorim, we refer to this miracle that also occurred the Pesach night. There was a city called Nov Yira Kohanim, that if you remember, Shaul HaMelech, David HaMelech took refuge there, and Shaul HaMelech killed out all the Kohanim. Sancherib had reached the city of Nov, and it was Leil Pesach. And when you say the 185,000, these were the. One second, I'm on call, 1 second.
You should go in the room because it's like.
Set? Hi.
Sorry, he's on call.
That guy David said, I mean, I fly him on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Everybody having a good Hanukkah?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Very good. So while Ernie is taking a call from the hospital, I have something interesting from Mayam Lois you might want to hear, that Chizkiyahu was the fourth king who prayed to Hashem to help. Each one made a greater request than the previous one, yet all were answered. Ernie started to say that David HaMelech was helped by when he prayed. When he answered, God asked him to help. When he talks about the city of Nov, for the crime was committed that the Kohanim were killed in the city of Nov.
Yeah, no.
Yes, he prayed to God for forgiveness, and God helped him fight his enemies, and David HaMelech was successful. The next king was Asa, who said, I don't have the strength to kill my enemies. It is all I can do to pursue them. So please, O God, kill them for me. His request too was granted, and he killed the Pelishtim in Geror, or the Kushim fell the Kushim. The third Melech was Yehoshaphat, who said, I have strength neither to kill my enemies nor even to pursue them. However, I will sing your praises while you defeat them for me. And so God did as it says. When they started with a song and praise, Hashem put ambushes around the children of Ammon and Moab and Har Seir, who came against Yehuda to kill them. The final king was Chizkiyahu, the one we're learning about now. Who said, I don't have strength to kill or pursue. I can't even sing. So while I lie in my bed, please defeat my enemies for me. Hashem granted his request too. As it says, the night an angel of God went out and smote in the camp of Ashur, 185,000 were killed. That night was the first night of Pesach. As it says, you will have a song like the night that the festival is sanctified. Let me see where that is. That's Rashi. That's a quote from Yeshayahu. As the Assyrians stood outside Jerusalem, waiting to attack, Rav Shaket looked over the wall and heard the Jews singing Hallel. He was reminded that it was Pesach and the time of redemption for the Jewish people, and went to Sancheriv and said, go back. Miracles were performed for them on this night. So Sancheriv laughed at him and ignored his warning. And as a result, 185,000 Assyrians were killed. Interesting.
Thank you, Bernie. That's all my employees. That's all, yeah.
What's that?
That's in the Mayam Lois you
The
mentioned.
Mayam always quotes it, but each one of these are with are documented either in Yeshayahu or 50. Let's see that. Or the Yalkut Shmoni has it, or there's a medrash that has these things. That's where he gets his information from. So.
Okay, Bernie, you can carry on giving the share while we wait. No problem.
I can't do as well as Ernie. Sorry.
So continue, Bernie.
Right. Let's see here.
Hmm.
Okay, the 185,000 were killed were all officers who wore crowns on their heads. Some say they were killed by fire that entered their bodies and burned their souls, leaving their bodies intact and undamaged. By killing them in this way, God made it clear to everyone the defeat had been a miracle and not by human means.
Peggy, you've got two screens on.
Yeah,
Peggy.
yeah.
Oh, no,
Yeah, there are
back
two
to
of you, Peggy. It's cute.
No, I turned it off because the speaker wasn't working on my computer. So I went to my phone, but now it started.
You want to hear more?
Yeah.
By
I
killing them in this way, God also made it clear to everyone that their defeat had been a miracle and not by human means.
Okay.
It's great.
Okay, Ernie.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Was that a clue?
Hey, watch
that a
out, if
clue,
you
Bernie?
stay too long on the phone, you're gonna, your seat's gonna be usurped.
I like it. I love it. So the 185,000 were generals. They were not soldiers. The army was so big that they had 180, what's called Roche Gayosos, like a colonel or a general, you know. Some say the majority of the army was also killed out. Now, that night, Chizkiyahu and his Beis Din were eating their Korban Pesach. When that night, just like the Malach went out in Mitzrayim, went out in Ashur and killed the same people in Sancheriv's camp. And they said Shir. It says in Yeshayahu, Perak Lamed, Hashir Yelachem Kalelis Kadesh Chag, that there's going to be a song for the Jewish people, that while Manchanes Sancheriv was falling, Klal Yisrael is singing Hallel at their Seder. And over their Korban Pesach, which they say Hallel. Even that Rav Shakeh, who was the guy who cursed Hashem, he's sitting on the wall, and he hears Klal Yisrael singing Hallel. So he immediately tells Sancheriv, you know, you better go leave here, because this is a night that is Mesugal and Nisim. But Sancheriv didn't believe it. So he used his hand, he went like this, nothing. That's why when we lane the Haftorah on the 8th day of Pesach, Od Hayom Benov La'amod. This refers to Sancheriv, and it says, you know, Faith Yado Har Bat Zion Givat Yushalayim. He waved his hand at the Har, at the Mount Zion, as a sign of disbelief. And in the Haggadah we say Vayhi B'Chatzi Alayla. And also in those that say Piyutin, by Shabbos Hagadol, there are 4 parshios that we lane before Pesach. Parsha Shkolim, Parsha Zachor, Parsha Porah, and Parsha Achodesh. Each one of those Shabbosim, we Ashkenazim don't do it, but in the Hasidic shtibels, growing up in a shtibel, if you daven Nusach Sfard, there were very long piyutim, similar to what we read the Kinos on Tisha B'Av. These are added tfilos, and there were special nusachs that they were sung with. There were chazanim that came in and did these piyutim. So in the piyut of Shabbos Hagadol, the Paiton makes a whole drasha that on this, it says, Ya'atz mecharev lenofei fivoy. This Sancheriv, who sent Rav Shakeh to fight Yerushalayim, who cursed Hashem, he was waving his hand at Yerushalayim, but they all died. Hovashta Pkarav Balayla. That's the lashon of the piyut. Now, we're going to get later tonight that Chizkiah Melech became sick. And there's a shaila, and Chizkiah Melech davened, and he was healed from his sickness. The question is when this occurred. So according to Rashi, it occurred 3 days before this nace. And on the 3rd day, when Chizkiyahu got up from his illness and went to the Beis HaMikdash, was the first day of Pesach, and that was the night that Sancheriv's army got destroyed. Now, how were these people killed? So, in Shmos Rabbah, it says, Sorav gufan mibifnim, v'iniach bigdei mibachutz. They were burnt on the inside, but their clothes were left intact. The covet of a person are his clothing.
It sounds like the pages.
Sounds like the pagers, right? They were burnt on the inside and their clothing was left intact. Why was their clothing left intact? Says Rabbeinu Bachai that they were mibnei bonav shel Shem. We're talking about Shem, Cham, and Yafes. Because it says Bnei Shem in Bereshis, Bnei Shem, Elam va'Ashur. So Assyria is descended from Shem. Omar HaKadosh Baruch Hu chayav ani l'Shem aviyim. Shenot luhu v'yefes bigdeihem v'chisu ervas aviyim. When Noach got drunk and Cham goes and tells his brothers, look what's going on with our father. So Shem and Yafes took a garment. They went in, they backed in not to see the nakedness of their father, and they covered their father with a garment. So, Omar HaKadosh Baruch Hu leMichal. Michal was the malach that HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent to destroy the army of Sancherib. Hanech bigdeihem v'saraf nishbasim. Leave their garment. As a repayment to the great-grandfather Shem that he had covered for his father regarding his begodim. The Gemara in Sanhedrin, Tzadik Hey, says, "My or hayom benov lamon, on Ravuna ois hayom nishtar mavon shel noiv." Rashi says that the sin of Shaul HaMelech, that he killed out all the Kohanim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu set a punishment for that day. But only that day. If he would have come that day of that was reckoned, the city of Yerushalayim would have fallen to Sancherib. But Sancherib was delayed. Because of the delay, it led to the nace. So the Radak brings over here the Chazal. Sancherib shalas chacham kasher yikam alach machaneu. Sancherib asked his advisors, "What's going on here? Why were we wiped out?" Mazchut shel umazu she Elohim nilcham lem. You remember we read the last few weeks the psukim that Sancherib had gone all over the world, conquered everybody. None of the gods had helped those countries. Why is this God different? Amrullah Avram Aviem Helaz Beno Ola. So the advisors told him that Abraham, their forefather, had brought their son Isaac as a korban. Omar Afani Elet Shnei Banai Lelohai. So Sancherib said, "Oh, I'm going to go to get my sons, and I'm going to sacrifice them." Kishashamu Bonav Hiku B'Cherev B'Od Shayim Mishtachaveh. His sons heard it, and they killed their father, Sancherib, with a sword while he was bowing down. Remember, he didn't understand that the mile of Avraham Avinu, not that Avraham did not kill his son. If he had killed his son, he wouldn't have a zechus. He had Mesiras Nefesh to follow the way of God. Even though it was a great nisayon, he wanted to do it. So, the Mesiras Nefesh is what Avram was moirish to his children. And that's what that's what the advisors of Sancherib were telling him. It's impossible to fight against them if the Jews fight with Mesiras Nefesh in order to do the will of their God. And you don't have that. And therefore, that's why the sons of Sancherib ended up killing him. The Gemara Neicha Rab also says that there were 4 great kings in Judea: David, Asa, Yehoshaphat, and Chizkiah. David had said in Tehillim, "Erdof of Oivai Vasigem." I'm going to chase after my enemies, but I will reach them. Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ani Osakeh. I will fulfill what you said. Amad Asa v'Amar Ein bikoach laharog lehem. I don't have the power to kill them. Elani rodefotam, v'ata. But you will kill them, God. I will chase after them, but you will do what has to be done. Says God, Amar lo ani oiseh. Amad Yehoshaphat v'omer, ani ein bikoach lo laharag v'lo lerdov. I don't have power not to kill, not to chase. Elani oimer shira, v'ata oiseh. Amar l'kodesh baruch hu ani oiseh. So Amar Chizkiyo v'omer ani ein bikoach. Chizkiyo says, I know strength. Lo laharag lo lerdov. V'lo lomer shira. Ela ani yoshan al mitosi. I will sleep. V'ata oiseh. Amar l'kodesh baruch hu ani oiseh. Shenema vayi balayla hu vayitzei malach Hashem while Chizkiyo is sleeping. Comes out, it seems like Chizkiyo has the greatest bitachon. You know, he's going to do nothing. He had complete bitachon that Kodesh Baruch will do everything. The Orach Chaim brings a similar concept when Klal Yisrael were at the Yam Suf, and they said, Moshe said, Hashem ilachem lachem v'atem tacharishun. Hashem will fight for you, you will be quiet. And there, the Gemara brings these 4 tzaddikim that each one has something different. And Chizkiah had asked, I had done nothing. I'm going to sleep and you're going to do it. That's the same madrega that Moshe said, Vatem tacharishun. That means in your davening, even if you have no koach, you will reap and Hashem will fight for you. Rabbi Schwab says something different. David HaMelech, he says, was the greatest of these kings, even by bitachon. Yet David did the most hishtadlus. He ran after the enemies, he killed them. However, he understood that it didn't come from his strength. It all came from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Even though he's doing things b'derech hateva, with all of his stadlus. So even though Chizkiyahu, he was a great believer in Hashem, his bitachon was not on the level of David, that if Chizkiyahu had done some kind of ishtadlus, he might have believed a little bit that maybe some of his actions were the cause of it. So Rav Schwab is saying that even the way the Chazal learn it, David HaMelech is greatest. Pasuk Lamed Vav. Vayisav vayelech vayoshev Sancheriv melech Ashur vayeshev b'Nineveh. Sancheriv turns around, goes back to the capital city of Assyria, Nineveh. Vayhi hu mishtachaveh beit Nisroch Elohav. He's bowing down at his base Avodah Zarah. Vadar Melech v'Sharetzer Bonov and his 2 sons, Adar Melech and Sharetzer, Hiku Bacherev killed him. Vehem nimlatu Eretz Ararat, and they ran to the land of Ararat, where the Teva of Noach had settled. Vayimloch Eser Chadon b'no tachtav, and Sancheriv's son Chadon ruled in place of Sancheriv. The Ramban in Breishis writes that Harei Ararat is in the east, close to Assyria, which Assyria is northern Babylonia, which is northern Iraq, which is east of where Ararat is, which is in Turkey. Another striking thing that we've learned from the Gemara, Sanhedrin Nun Zayin, Omid Beis, and Tzadik Vav Omid Beis, Mibnei Bonov Shel Sancheriv Limdu Torah B'Rabbi. We are told that the great-grandchildren of Sancheriv became Rosh Yeshivas and taught Torah publicly. Uma Ninu Shmaya Vavtalya. Not only were they the teachers of Torah, they were the Zukos. Prior to Hillel and Shammai, there were other pairs. One was the Nasi, one was the Av Beis Din. So Shmaya Vavtalyon were grandchildren of Sancheriv. They were Gerim. So how do we understand that this Rasha, who cursed Hashem and wanted to kill out Klal Yisrael, that he has tzaddikim. So the Iyayayam wants to learn, even though all of his kavanos were evil and against Hashem, it led to tremendous Kiddush Hashem, because eventually his army was destroyed. That led to Kiddush Hashem. We have the same story by Haman and Nebuchadnezzar. There the Gemara says the same thing. Bnei bneihem nizgairu v'lamdu Torah. We have evidence by Chazal that the grandchildren of Haman and the grandchildren of Nebuchadnezzar also became lamdonim, because there was Kiddush Hashem created. Great miracle, Nes of Purim, occurred through Haman and Nebuchadnezzar, that Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah were thrown into the furnace and they were saved. So sometimes a vehicle of Kiddush Hashem, even though they're Rishoim, even their children can become tzaddikim.
Ernie, the Mayam Lois quotes Sanhedrin 94b as saying that the two sons who killed Sancherib were actually Nebuchadnezzar and Nebuzaradan.
It was Radin.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
According to some. Okay.
It's hard to say that, because from a time standpoint, this is 702 BCE, and the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed 586 BC by Nebuchadnezzar. So you're talking about 130 years. So we'd have to see where the source of the Mamlo is, because it's
And the Gemara is Sanhedrin Tzadik Dalet Amud Aleph.
Okay, but you see, it's a problem, because we know that Tzidkiyahu HaMelech, who's going to be taken into Golus by Nebuchadnezzar, doesn't live for another 120 years. Okay. Paragraph. Bayamim hahem chala Chizkiyahu lamus. So according to Rashi and Seder Olam, this is 3 days before this nace that we just learned about Sancherib. And his sickness was a lethal sickness. Vayavoy elav Yishayahu ben Amoz Navi. And Yishayahu comes, we'll see, to visit Chizkiyahu HaMelech. Vayomer elav kol amar Hashem tzav leveisecha. He's given a nevuah to say to Chizkiyahu, command your household, ki meisata v'lo tichi. You're going to die. You're not going to live. So you have to give commands. You have to do a tzavah. So Rashi, the Radak, Barbanel, everyone says that the sickness occurred before. The Ralbag says it happened after, which is according to the Seder HaParshios. Okay. Now, the Gemara in Brachas Yud says that this was not a natural illness. It was because he had not married a wife yet. And therefore, there was going to be no Zerah to Beis David. There's going to be no heir. So he was sent to sickness in order to do tshuva and to marry. We'll see in a minute why he thought that it was better not to marry. And what is this repetition? Meis velosichia. Chazal say, Meis ba'olam hazeh, velosichia la'olam haba. So this was a severe punishment to Chizkiyahu. So again, the Gemara in Brachas Yud, Amar Rav Nuna, it says a pasuk in Koheles, Mi ke'achacham u'mi yodea pesher davar. Who is wise and who knows compromise? Who is like God, who made like a compromise between two tzaddikim? Ben Chizkiyahu Yishayahu. Chizkiyahu Amar Leis Yishayahu Gaboy. Chizkiyahu was the Melech. He said, Yishayahu should come to me. Dahachi ashkechan be'Eliyahu dazal l'gabe Achav. When we learned about Achav HaMelech and Eliyahu Navi went to visit Achav. Yeshayahu Amar Leisi Chizkiyahu Gaboy. Yeshayahu said, no, Chizkiyahu should come to me. Dahachi ashkechan be'Yoram ben Achav dazal l'gabe Elisha. The son of Achav, Yehoram, had visited Elisha. Now, just a parak ago, we saw that Chizkiyahu needed Yeshayahu to daven when Sancheriv came. At that time, Chizkiyahu sent shluchim to Eliyahu. And Yeshayahu sent back shluchim with his answer, but they didn't physically go to each other. Ma'asa Kadosh Baruch Hu hevi Yisrael al Chizkiyahu v'amar lo l'Yeshayahu lechu bakar sachoy. Hashem sent a sickness to Chizkiyahu, and for that reason, Yeshayahu had a side reason to go to be Mavaker Chol. So when Chizkiyahu Melech was told by Yeshayahu, Meisata b'oil mazeh v'lo sichel haba, he said, Amarle, Michael Lahai, what? Why such a severe punishment? So Yeshayahu responded, Amarle mishum delo sakta b'pri rivia. You did not fulfill pru or vu. So answered Chizkiyahu, Amarle mishum dechazoyli, Ruach HaKodesh, the nafke minoi benin de lo mailu. I saw Baruch HaKodesh. I'm going to have a son, Menashe, who's going to be the worst Rasha in the history of Klal Yisrael. Omer le b'havik kavshi d'rachmana lamalacha. These are secrets of Kadosh Baruch Hu. What you're commanded to do, you have to do. You're commanded to do pru or vu. And what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to do, he's going to do. But don't get involved in cheshbonos. Oh, I saw Baruch HaKodesh, I'm going to have bad children. Your job is to have children. Okay. Omer le, so Chizkiyahu said to Yeshayahu, Hashta havli bartech, give me your daughter. Efsha the garment schusidi, but did chavanafik benai benin demal. Maybe your schusim and my schusim together will have good children. Omer le kvar nigzra lech gzeira. So Yeshayahu said, there's been a gzeira that you're going to die. I can't do anything about it. So Omer le ben Amotz kalei nevuat chavetzei. So Chizkiyahu told him, stop prophesying, leave. Kach mekublani bebeis avi abba. He had received a Masorah that Rashi says David HaMelech also saw a malach with a sword, and the Yod of Sefer Shmuel. But he still davened. Says Chizkiyahu, afilu cherev chodem unachal satzavar shalodom. Even there's a sharp sword at the neck of a person. You should still daven. Itmar nami Rav Yechel Rabbi Lozer Damer Tavai afilu cherev chodem unachal satzavar shalodom. You still need to daven. Now, another question Rab Schwab emphasizes, because we just read the Chazal, that this is like an act of Bikur Cholim. Hashem sent an illness as a carbon, because neither wanted to visit each other. So Hashem sent an illness so that Yeshayahu is going to fulfill Bikur Cholim. So, we know when you go to visit a chola, it's Chazal say you remove 1/60th of his illness.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of bigger cholim is this that Yeshayahu is showing up and saying, "Oh, you're going to die from this illness"? You're supposed to be menachem b'cholim. Yeah, why is this happening? No, but I noticed it. No, I have to get from my briefcase. No, I got to get my Mac is about to go out. I need to get 1 second. I'll get it.
Bernie?
Hi, he went to go get.
Okay, the next thing he'll probably talk is about Vayasev es panav el akir. Why was he looking at the wall? Chizkiyahu turned to the wall and started praying. So he quotes from he quotes from multiple references having to do with the Isha Hashunamis, with Elisha. Elisha comes prays at the wall that the Isha Hashunamis built for him to have his own privacy. Then he talks about Rachav Hazona, the same thing with the spies. She saved the lives of the spies when they came in by having them climb down the wall. So that's another reference. Then there's one with Shlomo HaMelech. He made a sanctuary with the Kodesh Kodashim and covered the wall with gold. All of those are references to Panav Elakir, which Ernie will probably say when he comes back.
Bernie, Bernie, do you see anything regarding the fact that Yeshayahu did not visit Chizkiyahu? There seemed to be, I mean, Nevi'im always came to the king. Supposedly there was some aspect of kavod, but we always see the Nevi'im coming to the Melech, but here Yeshayahu did not come to Chizkiyahu, and the only reason he came at this point was to be Mevaker Cholem. Previously, they were related, and they
were first cousins.
They were cousins, right? And he did not visit him. He barely visited him, and so I wondered why, what his basis was for not doing that, because the Nevi'im always came to the kings and directed them.
So Barbara brings up a good point. I want to discuss this a little bit. So we asked this kasha, what kind of Bikur Cholim is this? So Rav Schwab says that originally Yeshayahu came just to be Mevaker Cholim. But at that moment, HaKadosh Baruch Hu appeared to him and gave him that nevuah. So it was not, the original kavanah was for Bikur Cholim. Now, what is this machlokes between Yeshayahu and Chizkiyahu? Are they both about their covet, and each one didn't want to go to the other? So the Gemara in Horayos Yud Gimel Amud Aleph has a hierarchy. It says Melech Kodim LeKohen Gadol. The Kohen Gadol Kodim LeNavi. That there is a hierarchy. The Melech is the highest level, then the Kohen Gadol, then the Navi. And a Melech goes before the Navi. So the covet and what you're supposed to do for a Melech is greater than what you do to a Navi. Not only that, and we've learned this before by Sholem Melech, Melech Shemochel Akvodo Ein Kvodo Mochel. A regular person could be moichel on his covet, right? Somebody wants to give you covet. I'm moichel. I don't want the covet. A Melech is not allowed to be moichel on his covet because he represents Klal Yisrael. So he has no right to deny himself covet. Therefore, he could not go to Yeshayahu, even when he needed him. Now, on the other hand, Yeshayahu thought Chizkiyahu needs him. He needs nevuah, he needs tefillah. It's a bizayon to his nevuah if he went to Chizkiyahu. That's one shot that some people learn. Others say that that Chizkiyahu was a tzaddik ben Rasha. And that's right. If you're a tzaddik ben tzaddik, it's one thing. But a tzaddik ben Rasha, that's a pegia in the covet of Yeshayahu for a Navi to go to someone like that. The Yiyayam wants to say, what do you mean? Chizkiyahu Melech is sick. He doesn't have the ability to travel to Yeshayahu. That's why Yeshayahu came to him. Now, others see a comparison in Chizkiyahu's Cheshbonos. He didn't want to do Pru or Vu from what happened with Rivka and her children. It said, "Vayisrotzetzu abanim b'kirba." Right, the twins were fighting. Vatomer imkein lama zenoch. It sounds like she wants to give up hope. And if this is going to be so much pain, what's even the beginning? Why should I even daven for the pregnancy? And how was her das consoled when Hashem told her you're going to have two nations? If her problem was tsar, the pain of childbirth, what is the fact that you're going to have two great nations? How's that in a chum? So the Grizz, Ravelvel Brisk, the son of Rav Chaim Brisk, the Brisker Rav. And we have this also, there was this Shailan Chizkiyahu. They didn't want to have Pru'ervu because he didn't want to have his son Menashe. They asked the question. But after Menashe, there was Yoshioah Melech was a great tzaddik. Tzidkiyahu was a great tzaddik. Why wasn't Chizkiyahu relieved? If he had Ruach HaKodesh, he should have realized that they're going to have great children from him as well. So Chizkiyahu had learned this from his great grandmother Rivka. That's why Hashem informed Rivka that not only was it going to be Esav, there was going to be Yaakov Tzaddik. And L'chora, that should have been a nechama for Rivka. Even so, Rivka was not menuchim. Lama zanoichi. So Chizkiya's taina, yeah, I'm going to have tzaddikim, but I'm also going to have Rasha. You see, my great grandmother Rivka had the same problem. But listen, he was moineh himself from the mitzvah pruvu. We see how important that mitzvah is, and he was punished for it. Now, is this a punishment by not doing pruvu that you get your chayv misa? That Chizkiyahu, remember, Chizkiyahu is given an illness here that he's going to die from. And not only that, he's not going to have chelik l'olam haba. So the Maharal, the Maharsha answers. It says by David HaMelech that when David died, it says Vayishkav. It didn't say that Vayos. Why? Because he left a son like him, Shlomo. Yoav, I think we learned this chazal. Yoav Shaloiniach ben Kamoso, Neber bo Misa. And that's what Yeshaya was telling Chizkiyahu. If you're not going to leave any child, not like you or not like you, you're going to have a problem. You won't live for Olam Haba.
Also, as the Melech, he has a responsibility for continuity of Malchus Beis David.
David, exactly. But Chizkiyahu had in mind that this was L'Shem Shamayim, there's no Aveir. Because it's Aveir Lishma. It says in Nazir Chav Gimel Amud Beis, Gdoil Aveir Lishma Mitzvah Shelo Lishma. So that's how Chizkiyahu made a mistake. The Abarbanel says like what Bernie says, that his lack of wanting to have children was that otherwise their Amlucha would end. Now, it says in Tonad Ve'Eliyahu, Kishabas on Chev Melech Asher V'Kivas Yishalayim, Omad Chizkiyahu b'Tfilah L'fnei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Chizkiyahu davened when Sancheiriv encircled Yerushalayim. Shene'amar Vayispadel Chizkiyahu L'fnei Hashem. Now, Vayomer, it was Vayispadel L'fnei Hashem. Nira ka'adam shu medaber m'chaveiro. Nocha ruach Elohim uval Yeshayahu ben Amoz Navi. Armelo Adam Shemedal Lifnei Misha Gadol Mimenu Basar V'Dam Martia Gufo V'Nizadei Vara. Yeshayahu said to Chizkiyahu, when you speak in front of King Charles, you shake. It's a human king, and people are nervous. You should speak to Hashem in fear. This was one of the reasons why Chizkiyahu was punished with an illness. Now, from from this language of Yispalel Chizkiyahu Lefnei Hashem, where did Chazal see that he didn't daven appropriately? And why would he chayv misa? In the next pasuk, we're going to see when Chizkiyahu's life was in danger, it says, "Vayef Chizkiyahu b'chi gadol." He cried a great cry. But in his original tefillah, when he was davening for Klal Yisrael on Sancheriv, where there was a great sakana because of Sancheriv, there we didn't say that Chizkiyahu cried. From there, Chazal understood that there was a chisorn in the tefillah. And we can see what was going on here. Klal Yisrael knew that the walls of Yerushalayim were encircled by Sancheriv, and not only that, their king is sick, a dangerous sickness. Very tough times for Klal Yisrael. Who was the one who was unifying Klal Yisrael? It was Chizkiyahu. He was the one who taught everybody Torah. He was the one who said that you have to have bitochen in Hashem. So if he dies, who's going to lead them? So there was a feeling of no hope. Why would Hashem bring a double tzara like this? Again, Rav Schwab steps in because Chizkiyahu's original tefillah, we just learned, was not really appropriate. Chizkiyahu had to have this great sickness. He wanted tefillah from him, Karoi, to help him save Klal Yisrael. And that led to a better tefillah. And all the Yeshuas over the next 3 days occurred because of that tefillah. I want to review a Rambam. We've learned this before. This is in Yesodei HaTorah. Divrei HaPurana Shanavi Oimer. When a Navi says bad tidings, Kigon, Sheyomer Ploni Yomus, Oshana Ploni Sraf, or he says such and such person's going to die, or this year's going to be famine or war. Imlo Amdu Dvarav Ein Bezeh Chashel Nivlosa. So we always have to worry by a Navi. Is he a Navi Sheker? So if a person does not, if a Navi prophesies that a person's going to die, or there's going to be a famine, let's say those things don't happen. We don't say he's a Navi Sheker. Because there's a principle, Kadosh Baruch Hu is an Erech Apayim V'Rav Chesed. And perhaps the person did tshuva, and he was forgiven. Like we see in Sefer Yonah. A whole city was supposed to be destroyed. They did tshuva and they were saved. Or somebody davened for them. Like here we see Chizkiyahu Melech and saved a generation. So a bad nevuah can go away with tshuva. We'll see a proof soon from Chizkiyahu that Yeshayahu came with a nevuah that he was going to die. He was davened, he did tshuva, and we'll see what happened. And we know Yeshayahu was not a Navi Sheker. Now, those of us in the Daf Yomi know very well the principle of what a Shchiv Mara is. A Shchiv Mara is somebody who's on his deathbed, and he can give a command, even though kinyan was made. Normally, if I give a gift of one of my fields to someone, I have to do an act of kinyan. Like, for example, when we go and sell our chametz to Rabbi Krauss or to our rabbi, he does a kinyan sudar with us. He takes our handkerchief, we do a fictional kinyan. However, somebody on his deathbed who says, give this field to such and such person, it's done without a kinyan. And we learn it from here when Yeshayahu told Chizkiyahu Melech, give commands to your household, even without a kinyan. So, Pasuk Beis. Vayaseb es panav el akir. Chizkiyahu turns to the wall. Vayispalel el Hashem lemu. And he davens. Chizkiyahu is 39 years old at this point. Yonasan ben Uziel says when it says the kier, it refers to the koisel, the wall of the Beis HaMikdash. The Gemara learns a halacha from here. Brachas hey amid beis. Ravid Amarav. Vitem Rishu ben Levi. Minayli spalel shloyei davar choitzitz benov leven akir. When you're davening, there shouldn't be anything separating between you and a wall. Shneamar v'yasev chizkiel panav v'lakir. When you are davening against a wall, you shouldn't look at something that's going to interrupt your kavanah. The Shulchan Aruch actually brings it, Nor Chaim, Simin Tzadik, Tzarech Shloyei Davar Choitzitz Beno V'Nakir. By the way, the Mishnah verse says, Kol Zeh Etz L'Chatchila. Ava B'diavad Enu Ma'akev. If there was something Choitzitz between you and a kir, it's not a problem. And the way the Yonasan ben Uziel was learning, that he turned his face to the wall of the Beis HaMikdash. This is reminiscent of the Gemara in Brachas Lamed Amud Aleph. Haya omed b'chutz lo aretz yichav neslibo keneged Eretz Yisrael. What direction do we all daven in? We daven toward, like if we're in a shul, we daven here in Los Angeles east, because we face Eretz Yisrael. And there's a pasuk in Melachim Aleph, V'ispalu elecha derech artzam. This was part of Shlomo Melech's tefillah, that Haya oime be'eretz Yisrael yichav neslibo keneged Yerushalayim. If you're in Tel Aviv, you daven south. Shenemar v'ispalu l'Hashem derech ha'ir asher b'charta ba. Haya oime b'Yerushalayim yichav neslibo keneged Beis HaMikdash. If in Yerushalayim, you daven towards the Beis HaMikdash. There's a Gemara in Brachas Yud Amud Beis, my kir, Amar Rav Shimon ben Lakish mekiros libo. It's a metaphor from the depths of your heart, or from the walls of your heart. Reb Levi Amar Aliske Akir. What does that mean? Amar Lefan Rabban Shalom Mashu Namis. Shloaster Lekir Achas Ktana Echias Esbna. Remember the famous story we learned with Elisha, the Isha Shunamit. What does it say? That Elisha used to travel, and she built for him like a second story, a kier, an aliyah, with a mitan, a shulchan, and a menorah, and a kisei, just a little kier. And what did Elisha do? He resurrected the son. Avi Abba Shachapas Ahechel. He's referring to Shlomo HaMelech, who decorated the Beis HaMikdash with gold. Kula because of his awalachas kama, that because of the schus of my grandfather Shlomo HaMelech, he's requesting to be healed. What was his tefillah? Ono Hashem, schor na'as asher salachti lefanecha. He, remember, I went in your ways. Be'emes uv'lev of sholem. Va'atov beinecha asisi. That which is good in your eyes I've done. Vayev Chizkiyahu b'chi gadol. And Chizkiyahu cried a great cry. Lev of sholem is avodas halev, which is tefillah. And atov beinecha asisi is ha'maisa. That those are, and then the greatest thing is b'chi gadol shari demas lo ninal. Baba Metzia Nun Tes Amud Aleph says that the gates of tears are never closed. There are Meforshim who say that during the Yomim Noiroim, Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, a person should try to have tears appear at some point during the davening. Now, according to Chazal, that which he's saying, that in a sense he was praising himself. Asher salachti lefanecha be'emes of lev sholem, right? There was a tiny little bit that he was claiming his own schuyas. Chazal say, "Eimin arui lahaskir chusatzmo." What the Abarbanel explains that Chizkiyahu's kavana was to get out of this claim that people were making against him that he was not involved in Pru'ervu. That his kavana was l'tachlis tov, with the right kavana, because he didn't want Menashe Rasha to come out of him. I had a proper kavana. That's what he meant by Be'emes of Lev of Sholem. He thought it was better in his eyes to not have Menashe and he doesn't want to be he doesn't want to be treated based on his real actions, but rather his kavanah. Like he did everything else L'Shem Shamayim. He thought that because Menashe Melech is going to lead to a great churban. Another halacha is brought in the Gemara Brachos Yud Amud Beis. What does it mean? My vatov beinecha sisi. That which I did is good in your eyes. Amar Rav Amarav, shesamach geula l'tfila. We all, when we daven Shachris, when we say Baruch Atah Hashem Goal Yisrael, and then we immediately start Shemona Esrei, you can't have any hefsek between geula and tefillah. And that we learn from Chizkiah Melech. Shesamach geula l'tfila. Reb Levi Omar, Shegonaz Sefer Refuos. There was a Sefer, either it was from Adam HaRishon or Avram Avinu, which had all the cures of all illnesses. And Chizkiah buried that Sefer. And it's viewed as a good thing. Why did Chizkiah Dafka choose these mitzvahs? Chizkiah did many mitzvahs, but here he is davening for his life. So what does he choose? That I was soymech geula l'tfila, and I buried the Sefer Refuos. What is this all about? Now, the reason he buried the Sefer Refuos, the people were not davening to Hashem when they got sick. They would go to the Sefer Refuos, they would get healed. So he buried it so it would force people to daven Hashem and that they would realize that the refuah is from Hashem. And now we understand that by doing that, Chizkiah is telling Hashem, I understand that my refuah comes directly from you. And it's a good thing that I buried it. Because tefillah helps for refuah. And Chizkiah was basically saying, and if you don't heal me, people are going to say that tefillahs don't help. The Ramban, in his comment in Vayikra, says, Lo yisnaheg inyanam b'teva klal. Jewish people should not be involved in natural things at all. Lo begufam, not when it comes to their health. Lo ba'artzam, not when it comes to their land. Ki yivarch Hashem lachmam umeimam. Hashem is going to bless their bread and their water. V'yasir machla mikirbam. And remove illness. Actually, you won't need refuahs. Like it says, Ki ani Hashem rofecha. And the Ramban says, V'chen hayu tzadikim oisim bizman nevuah. When there were Nevi'im, Gam ki ikram avon sheichlu lo yidrushu b'rofim, rak b'Nevi'im. You notice Chizkiah HaMelech didn't call for the best doctor. He called for Yeshayahu, the Navi. So, says the Bereishis Rabbah, the Ad Chizkiyahu lo amad adam mechal yov. Nobody had ever been healed from a life-threatening illness before Chizkiyahu HaMelech. So based on that, so the Sefer HaRefuos really didn't help people. So why did Chizkiyahu HaMelech have to bury it? So they answered there were really two kinds of illnesses. A regular illness, where you wouldn't die from it, that there was refuah for. There were other illnesses that were people's final illness. And no one had ever been healed from that until Chizkiyahu HaMelech. That, now the final question that we will deal with, what is this smicha gula l'tfila? And l'chura, it apparently hadn't been done before. When you're going to go, what is Shmona Esrei? We ask for all of our needs. We need wisdom, we need slicha, we need refuah, we need bracha, we need parnasa. So prior to davening, we have to recognize everything comes from Hashem. Then his tefillah will be a heartfelt tefillah. So we have to think about history. Where was the greatest geula that we have? Was Gulas Mitzrayim. So we are soymech Gulas Mitzrayim to every tefillah that we do. And that fits for Chizkiyahu HaMelech, who was a great Baal Bitochon. Okay.
Bernie, I think the only thing that was absent, and apparently there's some medrash that said God wanted to appoint Chizkiyahu as the Mashiach, but apparently when he was mispalel to Hashem, what he didn't do is involve himself in Shira, and that because he didn't do that, apparently the Malachim came and told him that he would not qualify because he wasn't singing Shira to God.
Well, we will get into that at great length, because the Shira that Bernie is referring to is the Shira that should have been sung by this. You notice Sancheriv's army, 185,000 are killed. And now we've quickly segued into the illness of Chizkiyahu HaMelech. So we'll see. Where is the lack of Shira? Is it the lack of Shira for the fact that the tzibur was saved? Is it a Shira that Chizkiyahu should have done for his own personal salvation? And we will discuss this issue of why he didn't sing Shira, on what should he have sang Shira, and why was he a candidate for being Mashiach, etc. That's all coming.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Exactly. Any other comments or questions, Aros?
I mean, not that you can answer, but how do you explain that from, I don't know, evil people, enemies of Israel, they had good children, and like, I don't know, Aaron and whoever, all these other people had, I don't know, not evil children, but some of them were. How does one explain that?
No, so the explanation we gave tonight was sometimes there's a great Kiddush Hashem that occurred because of Sanchev was a Russia. But look at the Kiddush Hashem, 185,000 are killed one night. It's like Gulas Mitzrayim. So it created a Kiddush Hashem. There's some remnant of Zechuyos of that, so that many generations later, he had Tzaddik.
Yeah, but some of these other parents, great parents, who the kids
don't
also
have good children. You're asking the other way.
Follow their path.
You're asking the other way.
Yeah, they saw the same thing.
They saw the great people don't have good children.
Yeah.
A lot of them do, but some
Some
don't.
doesn't. Which is interesting.
A lot of them do.
Right.
The B'nai Eli, and but in a lot of
Yeah.
places. And Yehuda,
Not that they didn't see miracles.
Yehuda's kids. I mean, you just go to the Avos. It sees Ma'aseh Avos Siman Labonim. So you see Abraham Avinu had both of them. Yitzchak also had two, one good, one not so good. It seems like in every family we're blessed with something. Every family is blessed.
It's just interesting. I don't know.
Okay, very good. Things to think about.
Okay.
Have a Freilich Chanukah. And we'll meet again God willing, next Motzei Shabbos.
Very good.